All of the things that were dreams, visions, and which seemed impossible as a youth, we now see as reality. So you can continue that tradition into the future by projecting a world where, through design, you can combat climate change. You can improve the quality of life for those who don't have access to clean water, sanitation, and power. You see the potential. I think as a child, as an adolescent, as a student, starting a practice, developing practices, over that whole period, I've had a fascination with science fiction, with utopian visions, with the idea that you could use technology, design, to create a better life. It could be Dan Dare in a comic, it could be Flash Gordon in the cinema, it could be the writings of Jules Verne, it could be anybody who saw a brighter future. Having a conversation with Buckminster Fuller, the ability to do more with less, and Bucky talking about communication. Bucky, of course, if he had lived to see the digital revolution and the power of a small telephone now to be able to do so many things, to have the power of what would, fill a room this size, it's his predictions coming true. On our first meeting, Bucky came to London to find somebody, an architect, to collaborate with. And we had a lunch together. We had this conversation. I was telling Bucky about my dreams, my aspirations, and Bucky was having a conversation. What I didn't realize is that he was actually interviewing me. And at the end of the lunch, I said, I'd really like to show you, studio, my colleagues and so on. Oh, he said, no, we're working together. That's it, I'm off, we're collaborating. As a designer, I've seen the way in which a small change, the closing of a road, for example, on the north side of Trafalgar Square, can completely transform the whole space, the whole area. Of course, it seems very simple, but just to make that change, you have to look at the entire city and its circulation to create a living room for London, where you have concerts, events, celebrations. That was impossible before. Mike Bloomberg, as an enlightened mayor in New York, created green spaces, encouraged pedestrianization, was sensitive to the effects of climate change, and encouraged positive transformations in that cause. You can balance the community in which you can have the best of both worlds. You can have affordable housing, and you can have, a desirable environment which attracts the wealth of talent as well as material wealth. The challenge is to use those design skills perhaps to provide something that was beyond the dreams of those who commission, to demonstrate perhaps to government bodies, to those who have the power of making decisions, that they can make the right decisions and that there is help there. Cities at the end of the 19th century were completely polluted by horse manure. That was a crisis. They gave up and said it was impossible to solve. Within a decade, the car as a friend had solved that problem. So traffic jams, congestion, pollution are not new, and we've addressed them in the past. We can address them now in the future. So the idea that harnessing the power of technology is something of our generation, our age, is really quite an arrogance, because that is the story of civilization, the ability to make, to design, to create.